Hello everyone, and welcome to this episode of UK Paranormal Files. If you've been following the channel for a while now, you might be used to a certain format of episode. However, for this episode, I would like to try something a little different and test the waters and have a more general and conversational episode. This is likely to be a slightly less polished version than usual, but I would like to cover a broader range of things. And if it works and people like it, I would like to think about doing more of this style of episode in the future. My hopes are, for one, that this would allow me to produce some more regular content, but without moving away from the deep dive analysis episodes that I have already been producing. But also, I hope then we could cover more ground, more stories, more topics, the kind that don't require quite such an in-depth level of analysis. So moving on into this, then the first thing I would like to say is thank you very much to my subscribers and to the many of you who have left very positive comments under my videos previously. If you are new here, please do click the subscribe button and turn on notifications, and then you can join the community too. I know everyone really is having a hard time out there in the world at the moment. And I can't begin to explain how incredibly difficult 2019 and 2020 have been for me in my real life, for me and my family. But one of the things that has put a smile back on my face is reading the positive feedback that I get under my videos. And I know that that level of positivity is not necessarily typical out there in YouTube land. So I'm very grateful. And if you are someone who is having a difficult time, I sincerely hope things get better for you soon. And if my content can go any way, any small way, to brightening your day, then for me, that's absolutely fantastic. The next thing I want to add and let you know is that my name is Daniel. So far, comments have been made addressed to my handle, UK Paranormal Files or UKPF, and that's absolutely fine. That's great. But if you'd like to comment and call me Daniel or UKPF, I'm really happy to be addressed either way. Up to this point in the channel's history, most of my videos have been well received. And although I know I had a spell there where a few videos had some rocky audio, which I really regret, I have since invested in a Blue Yeti microphone and some sound dampening foam for my office. So it's my hope that those things are now a thing of the past. But I do keep an eye out in the comments, so let me know if I do something wrong, because I read the critical ones as much as I read the positive ones. For the most part, I've had plenty of likes on my videos, and I think this is the seeds for something special with this channel. Other than just creating more content, I don't know what more I can do to catch the attention of the algorithm, but I think in these initial episodes, we have laid some good groundwork to grow the channel over time. I only have modest aims, but it is exciting to think about what the future might hold for this channel. So I want to ask you to let me know down in the comments section if there are any particular topics you would like to hear me speak about in these bulletins, and I'll definitely consider including those. For example, would you like to hear a bit more about me and the history of the channel, and perhaps some of the behind the scenes day-to-day stuff, or do you want me to strictly keep it to paranormal content? As for the future of the traditional deep dive episodes, I have a good sized list of episodes that I want to cover, and to let you know, I am already working on episodes which cover historic wildman sightings in the UK. I have an episode in the works looking at a famous UFO sighting from the 1950s. I also have an episode scripted on the Bulletin crop formations, and I have lots more old newspaper clippings, as seen in my previous episode, and I think I've got enough there to do a few more episodes on those old articles. And beyond that, there are plenty of wildman and dogman sightings from the recent years in the UK. Many of these are being logged with Deborah Hatswell's BBR, so I'd really like to look into some of those more. I have lots of angel sightings that I'd like to make an episode on. And despite the channel name, UK Paranormal Files, I've actually only so far made one video on a haunted building. So being based in the UK, I think there should be plenty of other cases that we can look at and do deep dives on. And I'm open to hearing suggestions in the comments. For example, the Chilbolton one that I'm working on that because it has been requested a few times. And I wish I could cover them all, but I'll definitely look into any interesting cases. So I wanted to circle back over a couple of comments that were left in the past year. In each case, these comments just added a little bit more to the story from the commenter's perspective, and I thought they were great. And I know that many of you might have seen these videos, maybe you have, maybe you haven't, but obviously people that watch videos aren't inclined to keep coming back and checking the comments threads, so I'm hoping that for many of you this might be additional or new information that you haven't seen. In August 2019, I published an episode on the haunting of Springfield House, and I got left a comment by someone whose name I shall not try and pronounce, as clearly I would butcher it, but thank you by the way for the comment. Springfield House is said to be haunted by the ghost of Olivia Lennox Coiningham, and this person's comment says, "When I was younger in primary school, we went here for a school trip. The tour guide was showing us around the house. I was only 7 or 8 at the time. We were shown around the whole ground floor of the house, and nobody else was in the house apart from my class, the teacher, and the tour guide. Everything seemed normal, and then we were shown upstairs. We were brought into the nursery where there were old toys, a wooden cot, and a rocking chair. Still, everything seemed perfectly fine. We were brought into one of the bedrooms where there was a door in the wall behind the wallpaper. As the guide was telling a story about 2 boys who had seen a woman, but I wasn't paying any attention. We were made to sit on the floor, and I was in the very back row, sitting at the door frame, not able to see behind me. I remember everything so well. It went cold, and it was almost as if everyone had stopped talking or time had frozen. But I remember hearing footsteps on the wooden staircase. So I turned around to see a white woman walking up them. And there was a grandfather clock at the top of the stairs. The woman was all white, wearing an old Victorian dress, and was reading a book as she walked up to the clock, not even looking at me. She stopped at the clock, closed the book, looked at the time, then slowly, turning her head towards me, she gave me a friendly smile and put her finger on her lips for me to stay quiet. Surprisingly, I wasn't scared or afraid. She made me feel calm. I turned away for a second and told my friend to look, but by the time we looked back, she had disappeared. I believe it was Olivia, as she is known to appear to the youngest in the house and is seen quietly on the stairs or wandering around the house during the day. It was an experience I will never forget. Thank you very much for leaving that comment to the commenter, and to everyone else, if you haven't seen that episode and you want to watch it after this one, I'll leave a link to it down in the description below. Another comment that I wanted to share was left below my UK Dogman video, which unfortunately was one of the videos I mentioned previously where the audio was a bit off, but nonetheless, this detailed comment came in from Italia666. To be honest, I wasn't aware of the background music until I'd watched the video and read the comments because I was fully fixated on listening to the content. But hey, that's just me. Some things just irritate people. There have been some creepy stories about Kielder National Forest up near where I live in Northumberland. It is an absolutely vast area and covers a few counties including Northumbria and Cumbria. I heard one story by a few amateur astronomers who go there to study the constellations as light pollution is near zero. A pack, 3 were seen but there could have been more, of very large greyhound-like dogs seen watching the astronomers, when two of the group went aside for a smoke. They saw the eyes reflecting goldy yellow, 3 pairs of eyes. A bit apprehensive, but thinking them just wildcats until one set of eyes rose up until they estimated it was something like 6 feet high. They edged away towards the others, absolutely terrified, when the other set of eyes advanced, and they saw a huge greyhound dog with still grey smooth hair, but the head was more of a bulldog breed. It was wide and blocky rectangular shape, in odd contrast to the svelte, tough muscular shape of the greyhound. The 2 guys became rooted to the spot as the other dog came forward on 2 legs, walking in a jaunty manner, very human-like, showing large teeth in more of a cynical grin, and gave a mocking snicker and yip like a tiny dog would do. Both guys knew they were in the presence of keen intelligence and not canine either. Then the dominant thing suddenly growled and made as if to attack, holding its arms forward, which had distinct hands with massive talons, like a badger's talons, which caused the lads to bolt towards their mates, screaming blue murder. Typically, when they calmed down a bit and told them what they'd seen, the others were all up for going after the dogmen, as they later deduced the things were, but the lads begged them not to, and to leave ASAP, which they did as the fear from the 2 lads was so palpable. The astronomy group has not been back since. This was in February 2020. I totally believe the person who told me this, as he was one of the group and has absolutely no imagination, is so down to earth and utterly nerdy. But as he told me, he was sweating with the recall, the atmosphere and the fear which they all felt. Oh, by the way, loved your vid and have subscribed. PS, don't go to Kielder Forest at night. Ever. So Italia666, thank you very much for leaving the comment and sharing the story, and thank you very much for subscribing as well, and that was a lovely comment. If your acquaintance ever wants to talk to me, please do ask him to email. I'll understand fully if not, but it was a great story and I'm really happy to share that with everyone else on the channel too. So I want to share now with you all some recent articles that I've seen and just wanted to bring to your attention, as this is something else I would like to incorporate into the future Bulletin episodes if these go forward. And I'll leave links to all of these in the description down below, so you can either go open them up now, they'll be in order as we go through them, or just if you want to review them at a later date. Also going forward, if you see articles, blog posts or things of interest, then drop the links down in the comments, because I'll always be interested to go and have a look, and we might cover some of those in future bulletins. I'll now switch to Screen View. This first article is from a website called extra.ie. So it looks like it's an Irish publication. I'm not sure if it's completely online or if it's a newspaper or magazine. Not heard it before, but I found this article. The headline is, Harvard scientist claims cigar-shaped space object could have been an alien spacecraft. A scientist based at Harvard University has suggested that a cigar-shaped space object that passed planet Earth in 2017 may have been an alien spacecraft. We'll check the pronunciation. Oumuamua. Oumuamua is the first known interstellar object, an astronomical object located in interstellar space but not gravitationally bound to any star, to have passed through our solar system. Oumuamua, formerly known as the name there, was first sighted by astronomer Robert Woodruck in Hawaii in October 2017, after the object passed its closest point to the Sun on September 9 of the same year. And there's a picture of it. at the time, two scientists based at Harvard speculated that Oumuamua could be an alien object or spacecraft. Astronomical experts studied Oumuamua for alien signals, eventually coming to the conclusion that the interstellar object was simply an asteroid or comet from another astral system. So that's interesting because A, they did check for alien signals, but B, how do we know what alien signals look like? We can only speculate there, but interesting that they checked. However, a newly published study has found flaws with this designation, arguing against the feasibility of a theory that Oumuamua's molecular makeup comprises frozen hydrogen, which would explain how the object propelled itself through space. In a paper published by the Astrophysical Journal's Letters on Monday, August 17th, Professors Loeb and Hungstated of the Korea Astronomy and Space Science Institute stated that such hydrogen icebergs would not have been able to endure the length of interstellar journey that Oumuamua is believed to have undertaken. The professor wrote, "We were suspicious that hydrogen icebergs could not survive the journey, which is likely to take hundreds of millions of years." The Massachusetts-based astronomer went on to argue that such hydrogen icebergs would evaporate too quickly. The behaviour of Oumuamua has baffled astronomers, as the interstellar object does not directly resemble a comet or an asteroid. Oumuamua, an unusually cigar-shaped object, estimated to be between 100 and 1,000 metres in length, travelled at 200 miles per hour while rotating a tumbling motion. Additional confusion was caused by the fact that Oumuamua seemed to be accelerating as its journey progressed, suggesting that something or substance is driving or powering it. While some scientists attribute this acceleration to an alien engine, others believe it is being propelled by a natural injection of gas, as advanced by proponents of the frozen hydrogen theory. So some interesting concepts there. Is this really so different to all the other comets and meteors we've ever seen? I mean, we have been, after all, looking at rocks moving through space with telescopes for hundreds of years. So it strikes me that there must have been something quite remarkable about this particular object to have drawn the attention, and I think some of those were covered in the article. Why did it speed up? Is that consistent with the hydrogen theory, or is that the evidence that it's intelligently controlled? My gut says it's not ET, it's just something we don't understand with science yet. However, this could have been a disguised extraterrestrial ship. We have video of tumbling UFOs. Those were released very recently, and Bob Lazar speculated that the tumbling motion of those pictured UFOs could be a necessity of the design. However, I think my understanding would be that those ships would travel faster than the 200,000 miles per hour, because I don't believe they would travel with traditional propulsion. But it's interesting because the tumbling ties back to some of those videos. So could this be aliens? Or in the future, could humanity hitch a ride on comets or asteroids and perhaps enhance them with some kind of propulsion technology to get them going a bit quicker? Anyway, let's move on to our second story. This article is about the Michigan Dogman, and it's from the Michigan Peninsula News, and like the others, the link will be down below. The Michigan Dogman creature and cryptid sightings. Back in 1887, many people living in Wexford County came forth as witnesses of the Michigan Dogman. This is according to folklore in Michigan. In this lore, the creature appears with canine-like features while having a male torso and measuring 7 feet tall. With blue or amber eyes, this bipedal creature has a howl with many similarities to the scream of a human. Although it predominantly appears in the northwestern part of the Lower Peninsula, there have also been reports of appearances in other locations in Michigan. Also, the legend specifies its appearances in a 10-year cycle on years that end with the figure 7. The popularity of the Michigan Dogman skyrocketed in 1987 thanks to Steve Cook. This was due to his part in recording a song that described the creature as well as details of its sightings in Michigan. According to reports, the Michigan Dogman has been roaming the Manistee River area during the period it served as home to the Odawa tribes. However, it remained unknown for an extended period. By the late 20th century, a large population of the modern world began to learn about the creature. The first people to come into contact with the creature were 2 lumberjacks from Wextolford County in 1887. According to their description, it had the head of a dog attached to a man's body. The next report was in the Paris area of Michigan in 1937. In this case, the victim was a man named Robert Fortney, who stated that a dog walking on 2 legs was among the 5 wild dogs that attacked him. Other sightings were reported in Allegan County in the 1950s, while in 1967 there were reports of a similar creature or creatures in Cross Village and Manistee. The article goes on to talk about the song, and when I read down below earlier, it also links to the Bedtime Stories YouTube channel and their episode of the Michigan Dogman, which is also recommended to go and watch. So this one was interesting because there does seem to be a lot of sightings in and around Michigan of the Dogman, very specifically the Dogman, not Bigfoot, not something else, not a wolf, but like a wolf man or a dog man. And these sightings have been coming in for years. The year ending in 7 is very interesting because I haven't heard that one before. I don't know if you have. Let me know if you have in the comments. So the question with the Dogman or the Wolfman is always, are these evolved flesh and blood creatures, or are they emanations or spectral? Or are they, as the werewolf legend suggests, people that have been cursed? And is there something from werewolf legend that lends to us more information? I think this article is interesting with the potential link or the suggested link to a 10-year cycle, because that might then lend to some kind of migrationary path which just sees these creatures skirt near a particular area in Michigan or areas, and that's when we're seeing them. So maybe they are traversing great distances, and for most of the time they're just nowhere near humans. But in this cycle, perhaps then that's why we're getting these sightings. So that's an interesting one. This next article comes from Lincolnshire Live, which I think is the local newspaper up around Lincoln, and they've run a story on 20 mysterious UFO sightings in Lincolnshire that still don't have an explanation. So we'll look at the first 2 of these. I want to share these because there's always lots of sightings from up in that area, so it's always interesting to see and read when these get picked up in local news. And I just think that's great. I think more local newspapers should cover these stories more, where there's some credibility and videos and photos, as we shall see. There have been hundreds of sightings of unidentified flying objects around the world. Lincolnshire is certainly no different. There have been all sorts of strange sightings in the skies of our county over the years. Last year, Boston was named as one of the top 10 places in the UK to spot a UFO. The most recent sighting showed flickering lights in the sky over the A151 main road near Bourne. This sighting is just one of a number of other more mysterious sightings that still can't be explained. A man has captured video footage of a possible UFO flying in the sky above Lincolnshire. The footage was filmed above the A151 by Alex Platts, shows flickering lights in the sky overhead on Monday, July 27th. He posted online, "UFO I've just been watching over Bourne. Headed off northeasterly direction. Any ideas?" The video caused a stir, with a lot of people commenting with ideas what they thought it was. One said, "Very odd. That's not something easily explained." And there's a picture, and you can check this out for yourself, but you can see there some lights in the sky as captured. The comments went on to say, "I do love a good UFO sighting." And another person suggested, "The light flashing pattern makes me think it's a helicopter." Alex, however, says he believes it is not a helicopter, as there was no rotor noise, and the way the lights flowed from front to back was not like that of a helicopter. "It looks like several of what they are," another person commented. The next story was, a man in Inglemells spotted this very strange image in the sky in October last year. The man who took the photo, Gary Caldwell, said, "It was so weird. At first I thought it was a lantern, but the way it moved in the sky, I don't think it could have been. It just stayed in that position for such a long time before shooting up so quickly. I don't believe in any of that really. I'm a doubter. But after seeing this, seeing it with my own eyes, I'd say I'm in between." And here's a look of the picture of what was captured. So that's an odd looking image there. That could be potentially something close to the lens, or that could be something moving off at great speed, faster than perhaps, well, maybe not faster than the speed of light, but terrific speed that is kind of seen in a twirling motion before heading up. So that would be amazing if that was the image. And of course, I want to give credit to the people that have shared the photos, because I don't think people do this generally for the purpose of hoaxing. If they say they saw something and they honestly just try to capture it on camera, I'm generally inclined to believe people, and I'm sure the journalists do check out local people and just see if they've got a bit of a history of hoaxing or sharing this stuff on the internet. But I think for the most part, I don't obviously think these are things that scientists will take as absolute proof, but just interesting. I like to read about them, and I think it's interesting that this local paper is again writing about it. But of course, it's good to draw in the readers and the viewers. There are more stories below this, but I'll let you come and check those out if you would like to after this episode. So this is the next article. Gulf Hills School ghost spooks Denniston residents after creepy image appears in window. So this is the image that's been taken, and clearly I think you can see, if I move the mouse around, just there appears to be a face, and the article actually goes on to claim that it might be two faces. That could be a face there and another face there. To me, that looks like a face, a white collar, and perhaps a white sleeve, and maybe like a dark jumper, which might just be a school uniform. However, as the article will go on to explain, let's take the article. Dozens of Denniston residents have been left spooked by a creepy image of a ghost at Gulf Hills School. Local Martin Monahan has caused a stir on social media after sharing the snap on the community Facebook group. The photo appears to show an old woman peeking through a window at the East End School, which has lain derelict since 2007. At closer inspection, 2 different faces appear side by side. Commenters were quick to refer to the previous rumours of a ghost who lived there in the school, a young girl who used to allegedly wander around the halls on the top floor. And the image there is circling what some people are claiming are 2 different faces. That's closer in and more blurry. I think this is more likely just a case of pareidolia. However, it could be someone just captured inside that perhaps should or shouldn't have been there, or just wasn't expected to be there. As the article says, this building is derelict, so the presumption would be there's no one in there. My gut says probably not, but I do believe other photos I've seen are of ghosts. I just think there's the possibility there that this is more likely misidentification. I suspect it's not paranormal, but let me know what your gut says. Do you see, when you see this image, does your mind go ghost, or do you go, okay, well, that's probably explainable? Hard for me to say, hard for me to know the conditions beyond what the article tells us. And just another conversation point, it does seem like we get less of these images now, perhaps because people just explain them away much quicker. Perhaps it's the improvement in camera technology of the last 20 or 30 years. But let me know what your thoughts and intuitions are on this one, because I'll be interested to know. And the final article that I wanted to cover today that I saw recently is from Yahoo, and it says company offers unconventional solution to sell ghost-plagued homes. Jump into the second paragraph. It says, according to research conducted by isoldmyhome.com, 55% of 5,000 surveyed Americans believe in ghosts or spirits, and 36% claim to have had a paranormal encounter in their lifetime. If those encounters just so happen to occur in a house that's up for sale, that is a huge bummer, because 61% of that group also said that they would not buy a house they thought was haunted. Internal data from that same company suggests that that property stays on the market 133 days longer if there are reports of any paranormal activity there. Luckily, a national real estate company has offered a solution. If you suspect there's a ghost in your midst, you can register for a virtual visit from your very own home exorcist and click the link. So this is, I think, part journalism, part advertisement, so I'll leave the article there, but I thought the concept was very interesting. The idea that, of course, some people must have to deal with paranormal activity in their homes, and from the many TV shows we see on the subject, it's often the first motivation, if you can financially do it at least, is if you've got a ghost in your home and you don't know what to do, many people say, that's it, I'm moving on. But maybe this is another option. But also, what if you're looking to buy a house and you know there's paranormal activity going on? So here's a potential solution, bring in an exorcist. So it just seemed like a logical idea and a fun story, but a few talking points there. So are these actually exorcisms, or are they some kind of cleansing or act of deliverance? And my understanding is that there is a difference between exorcism and deliverance. And the finality of an exorcism would probably work, but then you'd need to bring it in, my understanding, the Catholic Church and their authority to do it. However, deliverance kind of works the same, but it's not necessarily permanent unless you kind of bring in the Holy Spirit and cement that in the home. So I don't know how that would work transitionally between owners. Perhaps you had people moving in and that would work, and perhaps you had people moving in and it would not. And I don't mean to be too technical about it, but I just think that's interesting. And just another conversation point. So would you consider buying a haunted house? And isn't it weird how we live in this skeptical world now, but there are regulations in some countries and some states in America, or perhaps all of America, I'm not sure, but you have to declare this in so many areas. If you're having paranormal activity or a haunted house, you have to declare that on the sale. So isn't that interesting that we live in this skeptical world, but that's a requirement when you make the biggest purchase of your life, that the sellers tell you if it's haunted or not, or perceived to be haunted. The two just seem to be, in one sense, contradiction as the skeptical world we live in. But then there it is. It's there. It's a part of our life, and it's not going away, thankfully. Isn't that interesting how those two concepts kind of meet, and how this article really touches on that? Would you also consider hiring an exorcist to help you buy a house or sell a house? So I think we'll leave it there for today. If you have enjoyed this episode and the new format, please click the like button and leave me a comment down below. And if you'd like to support the channel, please also consider giving this video a share on social media using one of the buttons down below. And if you're new, please do click the subscribe button and turn on notifications. That way, YouTube should alert you the next time a new video goes up on this channel. As always, all that's left for me to say is, thanks very much for watching.